Everybody, welcome to Press Pause, the video game discussion show. I am your host, Carlos Rodella. With me, as per usual, is Mr. Dan Shu.
Hey, how's it going?
Bit Mob Shu. And also, coming back is Cesar. Today, we're going to talk about video games. That's crazy. We're not going to talk about botany or zoology.
Good, because I don't know anything about
You don't know anything about zoology. We had that discussion.
Tired of looking stupid on this show.
We're going to talk about El Shaddai review, but you didn't play it.
I played the demo. I only played the demo.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Cesar and I will go off on it because I think we played it a lot.
Yes.
Yes. And then you can just chime in maybe near the end. Cesar, why don't you start?
You know, El Shaddai is a really interesting game to begin with because you know, it has like kind of the dream team. They reformed a studio they formed a new studio in Japan, which doesn't happen very often, to make this game. Mm-hmm. And it's headed up by the creator of, or at least the visual guy from Okami, right? So it gives this really unique, stylized look. And at first, I kind of thought it was one note because I played it at TGS way back when. And it was, you know, it was gorgeous, but I was like, oh, it's Okami, like as a fighter. But as you start to progress, you start to see that it's broken up, you know, and each level represents a different type of scenario, and you know, relates to the boss and stuff. So it ended up being a lot more than I thought it would be initially, and in a good way. Really interesting.
You can easily see the Okami influence. It's just visually the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
It does that Japanese painting kind of style.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing is each stage is different. I mean, you have the beginning stage, which looks kind of blue and white, pencil-y drawn, and then it switches to like techno, you know, Tron kind of level, and then that kind of level. Because when you saw with the demo, I think they only showed the kind of the hand-drawn one.
Oh yeah.
And then there's just so much to it.
There's even I mean, it gets way more diverse than I even thought it would. There's one where it starts to get really cartoony, almost like Mario 3-ish. You know, you're like jumping on these like. The little spirit guys that are carrying balloons and they're like pushing you around and you're on.
It's like a true platform.
It's like a Mario platformer and you're this Enoch guy jumping from Mario character to Mario character and you're just like, what? Where did this come from? It's so nuts.
We should say it came from Ignition Games.
Yeah.
What's his name's over there? Shane, right?
Shane, our old co-worker from EGM and 1UP.
And we were really excited about it. We talked about on the show that we were excited about it, and I'm still blown away by this game. I have some issues with it. I'll talk about those in a minute. But I will say to start, it's just graphically amazing. I've not seen stuff done like this in a game. You know, it's based on the story of Enoch and these kind of lost parts of the Bible. It's pretty heavy, heavy dudes. Was it? Apocrypha. Scott Jones. But also it's a little confusing because of the Japanese translation. So I don't know what's difficult because it's Japanese translation stuff, or it's because it's just a wild story.
Or just because it's Japanese.
Or it's both. You know?
Well, because they have this really interesting, I mean, the backstory is really cool. You know it's a good story when it makes you want to go back and read the source material it's based on, because I was thinking as I'm playing it, I'm like, man, I got to go back and check out some of the...
What is the story about?
It was some of the Dead Sea Scrolls stuff. And it's really neat because it's very very Evangelion. You know, they have the angels that come down and they're your enemies. You know, they're part of the whole plan to reset the earth, you know, like God already says, I'm going to wipe out the earth, you know, and this character that's like Lucifer, this cell phone talking designer gene wearing
that guy's out of control.
You know, version of Lucifer is like the head angel is telling God like, no, hold on, we got this guy, you know, and he's in heaven, like,
and he's so nonchalant about it. He's like, no, seriously, God, hold on a second. No, can I put you on hold?
Yeah, hold on a second, God. No, we got everything under
it.
control.
It's cool.
And it's really interesting for them to put this very Japanese spin on this epic Dead Sea Scroll story, you know? And so they have these things like, you know, the main character, Enoch, has this long flowing hair. And in the beginning, you know, he starts off in like jeans and no shirt. And he looks like something out of an Abercrombie & Fitch ad, you know? He's just like, you know, and like he's battling dudes. And then, you know, they start to bring in elements like Lucifer talks about, like, oh, this is an umbrella. You know, you might check out, you know, this human stuff once in a while. And he's talking to God on his cell phone. And, like, you know, it's got all these modern twists on it. And it's at the same time, that makes it all very Japanese, you know. But it's really a cool mix that comes off feeling very fresh, you know.
Yeah, and then I think I was talking to my brother about this when he was watching me play it, is that more games should take chances like this and have fun with the visual style, also just with the, you know, source material. I mean, this world needs more of these types of games.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I like that. Let's just talk about a couple of bad things. One, the armor is ridiculous. Everybody in the forum is already talking about it. You have breasts, basically. Just so you know, the breastplates.
Well, isn't it like one-sided?
And
like
then it's also like kind of
asymmetrical?
not even like broken looking, and then the jeans are underneath the armor.
Yeah.
It is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Okay, besides that, we're gonna say?
No, keep going.
Combat, let's talk about combat. So the game itself is a little repetitive, on what you have to do. I wish there was a little bit more, the platforming is really cool, but sometimes there's levels like that Tron level where you're just kind of literally going from board to board of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Hit the little barrel, run, hit the little barrel, fight some guys. And then the combat, when it gets to like the really tough combat where you fight the big dudes, that stuff is tough because you have to clean off your sword. You saw that part in the demo? Mm-hmm. So after you fight these guys for a while, you have to purify that. Oops. Purify that stuff. I bleeped it. And that's really, like in the beginning, you don't know that. You're like hitting these guys for 100 times, and they won't die. Instead, they should have been like, okay, it takes 100 times, and then they will die.
Yeah.
But if you don't purify your sword, they will never die.
They'll just keep getting knocked out, and then you just have to
That seems broken.
Well, to go back to the repetitive nature really quick, the interesting thing about it, it has the whole game, in terms of storytelling and progression, has a really cyclical feel. Mm-hmm. You start off, with no armor, no weapons or anything. You go in, you get your ass beat, and
I do like that.
And then it stops, and a title screen opens, and it's like press start to play the game, and you're like, what? I just died.
It felt very Eternal Darkness to me.
Yeah, and that was cool, but that keeps happening, And the interesting thing is, it's like the whole story is it's like an arpeggiated song. It starts off small, and you have the same stuff that you'll have for the rest of the game, but it builds on it little by little by little by little, and you keep fighting the same guys. And at first you die really fast, but then you die a little less fast, and then you kick a little ass, and you kick a little more ass, and you keep unlocking, weapons at first, and then abilities, and then you start learning about the intricacies of the fighting. And this is where, for me, it gets broken, because you start off by having this one-button system, which is pretty interesting because it's very like tap tap tap. Tap, 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 like different sequences and different timing.
Combos with the same button.
Yeah. But eventually it ends up being, getting so nuanced that to master all the weapons and really get good at the fighting, I played it on easy, admittedly. But even to fight like the later guys, it gets really hard to beat them if you don't master the rhythm-based fighting, and the rhythm-based fighting gets pretty damn hard.
I know, and again, you mix that together with purifying the weapon. That's the problem.
Yep.
Like it's like you get into a kind of a rhythm, and then you're taken out of the rhythm because this is the part that's broken. Because of the purification, when you try to like purify your sword, it's a long animation. If it was like shoom, okay, I'm better. It's like, hold on one second, I just gotta purify this. Yeah, but you're gonna hit me? Okay, fine, I'm knocked out. And guess what? When you get knocked out, that thing isn't purified afterwards.
Right.
You gotta do it all over again. So the purification thing is a problem I had the most with it. But in general, though, I didn't even care. It's still a get it. Get it. Your verdict, get it. What do you say, get it?
I would definitely say get it. It's a game, I think it's like the most unique game I've played this year.
Yeah.
And that's counting like the Summer of Arcade stuff. Everything that's been great, but this is like really fresh. Really
I don't know if I agree that it's as unique gameplay-wise as that I've played, because I've played some like Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet, some other ones. But I think visually it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I think, period. I just did buy a new TV, so maybe that's it. But
you're seeing stuff in HD.
Thank you.
I'm like, Mario Brothers is amazing. No, but and that's not it. It is visually unbelievable. Yeah. So I would buy it for that long. And fantastic. You definitely are into it, right? Like you're gonna play more of it?
Yeah, it's a more matter, like we didn't get it sent to us, so it's like those games are more accessible to me, like whatever I have in front of me.
Right.
So it's like I have to go out and find it or something.
You're like, I have to go buy it?
Yeah. You know what's interesting? I went to buy it like last week actually, or whenever it came out, like day of. And the funny thing is, I went to the Mission GameStop and they were sold out. And I was like, oh. And I went to Best Buy and they were sold out. And I was like, oh. And at the same time, I was like, good for you, El Shaddai. You're doing well.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is that reminds me now. I went to GameStop by my house in the Sunset, which has everything all the time. It's a little place. And I remember I got home and my brother's like, Carlos, why don't you have the packaging on this? They gave me the last copy.
Wow.
At the Sunset in the freaking, whoa.
Well, you guys are still buying at GameStop and Best Buy. Have you heard of Amazon?
I have heard of that.
You like
thing.
paying like 10%
I do all
tax
of them.
It's true. I'm an impulse guy though. Yeah, I Gamefly too, but I'm honestly like, I'll stroll in like, I'll never shop at Best Buy, or I'll never shop at GameStop again. And I'll walk in and I'll be like, Oh, I should really get
Dude,
that. Oh, I gotta
I'm
get that.
so the same way.
Defeated.
It's impulse. It's like magazines, the same thing. I just buy magazines like right when I see them. Anyway, so that's it. Get it. You probably will play it once someone sent it to you.
I have a side note though. We
Side
talked
note.
about the jeans, so I'll have to send you this picture. Maybe you could put it in the show.
We're looking
When
at it
Shane
now.
Benhausen came to demo the game for us, he was wearing. I was like walking. I'm like, man, your jeans are really stylish, and they're actually El Shaddai jeans.
Was he wearing the El Shaddai
snap.
jeans?
They sell them in Japan, and they're like they have some
that's
of the.
pretty dope.
I don't know.
Shane, I want some of those jeans.
I know. Can you send them for the show? Can we have like two pairs?
Well, yeah, I think you got to tell them your size.
Well, right now. Okay, I'm 34, 32. We'll probably email you. It's probably easier, right?
Yeah, so there's like straps on it, and it's very stylish, right? And there's like on the inside lining, there's some scripture
Oh,
from the game or something
fancy.
like that.
That's,
All right.
that's dope.
That's a nice
dope.
side note.
Apparently, they're popular in Japan.
Yeah, dude, they're popular right now at this table.
Yeah.
Before we go, I want to mention, Scott Jones wants to pair too. Well, okay, well, we'll do it after the show. Before I go, and maybe you could talk about this for a second, Dragon Quest IX, have either of you played it?
No,
I have not.
heard lots of great things.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it myself. How you doing? Show? I haven't played this game. Anyways, it's amazing. For me, Dragon Quest is like Zelda, because it makes me feel warm and fuzzy, like just that kind of like, I know the shop's gonna work. I know it's gonna show me, which weapon I need. I know the inn's gonna be there. I just, you know what I mean? All that kind of familiarity. And then of course, taking it on the go, you're on the train, you're leveling up. It is incredible, and I cannot stop playing it. So get it. Interesting. All right, so stay tuned for next part of the show. We're going to talk about Facebook games. And I'm very curious to see what these two have to say.